This is the Unleash Your Life podcast, where you're going to learn what your power leaks are and, more importantly, how to plug them. I'm your host, Lane Smith Brown. I'm a best-selling author and the founder and coach over at lanesmithbrown.com. And over the last 20 years, I've been guiding people back to their truest selves. You see, most of us are caught in our stories, so we stay trapped. I call those stories power leaks. And when we understand how those power leaks are playing out in our life, we can make a choice to step back into our power. If you're interested in learning more, you can pop over to lanesmithbrown.com. But for now, kick back with a cup of coffee, a glass of wine, or a bag of Doritos, and let's talk about getting what's in the way out of the way through the lens of simple, practical, and easy to understand tools and insights that will make a powerful impact on your life starting today. I trust you'll stick around because I'd certainly love the company. Hello, all you beautiful beings, and welcome to the show. I'm Lane Smith Brown, and this is episode number 15 of the Unleash Your Life podcast. And today we're going to talk about the link from emotional intelligence to supercharging your intuition and creativity. So I'm going to place a little bit of a disclaimer on this chapter because I'm mentioning depression. Now, my experience was not a chemical depression. If that is your experience and you have not sought medical advice, please consider it. There is available help out there, and I urge you to let yourself experience relief in any way you can. As I usually say, if this is your first show, it could be beneficial to start at the beginning, but know that I am trying my level best to make each episode stand on its own. Okay, let's get on with the show. I grew up hearing that moods were something that came from God. I'm not sure how my dad came to that conclusion, but he did. Something, somewhere along the line, got interpreted into this idea that a heavy or dark mood was a gift you needed to experience to become a godlier person. His lie became my lie. Turns out it was simply an excuse for bad behavior. I was in my mid-20s before I figured that out. I was going through one of those times where I felt completely ill-equipped to deal with whatever was going on in my life. I had felt depressed only a few times in the past, but when it descended, I felt no other desire than to lock myself away from everyone and everything. This time would be no different. I escaped into my home. I shut the drapes and I unplugged the phone. I just allowed myself to disappear for a while. I didn't want people to see me this way. I slept a lot, thought a lot, and did a fair bit of feeling sorry for myself. At one point, I looked out my window at a blizzard that was moving in and felt the words, "You're choosing this. You can choose something else." The words seemed somewhat ludicrous when I considered what I had accepted as the truth until now. Moods were given, not chosen. They weren't things I had control over. But I couldn't shake the phrase. It just kept going around and around in my head. You're choosing this. You can choose something else. So I did the only thing I could think of doing. I ran away. And I did so by putting on a warm layer of clothing. And I went outside, grabbed a shovel out of the breezeway, and set out on a distracting mission. By this time, the blizzard had definitely left its mark on the city. But the skies were clearing, and there was a foot of snow everywhere I looked. And the snow was no longer falling too heavily, so I began shoveling sidewalks. I cleared up the public pathways, the neighbors' pathways, every walkway I could see. I shoveled for blocks and blocks and blocks. Big, heavy, wet snow. As the snow continued to come, I continued to shovel. Hours later, when I finally felt compelled to stop out of sheer exhaustion, I noticed I felt a titch of hope. You see, I had distracted myself from the voice in my head and interrupted the familiar pattern long enough to find myself with a different emotion. I look back at that moment almost 30 years ago now, and I recognize the gift my divine intuition was giving me when I heard, "You're choosing this. You can choose something else." For the first time, I realized I had a choice about how I feel. I had a choice in how I wanted to think about what was going on in my life at any given moment. I wasn't making a choice when I went to shovel. That was me trying to escape the voice. But the distraction inevitably got me off the topic, and a new emotion was able to sneak in. And there I was, moving out of my depression into the faintest feeling of hope. A world of possibilities was now standing right in front of me. We don't always get to choose what happens in our life, but we can always choose how we're going to feel about it and how we're going to react to it. When we get good at choosing better thoughts and feelings and reactions, we can create an energy shift that will dramatically increase the level of joy in our lives. When we shift our thoughts, we get a glimmer of relief. And once we get relief, we can begin a journey towards moods or emotions that feel better throughout our whole body. I know this seems like a simple idea, and for some of you there might be a bit of pushback, but all I can say is that this concept can greatly improve the quality of your life, and by extension, the life of anyone around you. Look, shit happens. Sometimes things don't go as we plan, but whatever it is, we always have a choice about how we're going to think about it and how we're going to react to it. This is emotional intelligence. And if we just stopped here in this awareness, our lives would already improve dramatically. But emotional intelligence can lead to so much more. So something happens to knock you off center. Look at it. Look at it seriously. Is it a curse or a blessing? A problem or an opportunity? Ask yourself, what's the upside here? Is there a downside? And if there is, can I manage it? What is this situation giving me more clarity about? Is it a clue that tells me what I really, really want in my life? This shift in perspective is monumental and is such a transformative tool to have in your kit. Try this the next time a situation makes you sad, angry, depressed, or overwhelmed. Allow yourself to feel it. Don't just shove it down and pretend it doesn't exist. This is not an excuse for, slapping positivity on a pile of poop. Just feel it. Let it register. Feel it and then make a deliberate attempt to shift your thoughts to feel something a little bit better. Even putting a smile on your face can make a remarkable difference. Now, if that seems too simple to you and you think it's kind of a crazy idea, try it right now. Be aware of how you're feeling in this moment, and then make a big smiling face until your cheeks lift. Big smile, so you can feel it in your eyes. Now stick with it for a few seconds. Can you feel the lift? Can you feel even the smallest change in your energy and demeanor? This may not be universal, but it has such a dramatic effect on me. I hope you're getting a taste of what I'm talking about. This one action has saved me from days of stewing in emotions that give me no pleasure and move me much closer to the life I came to live. So, do you feel emotions that don't feel good? What do you do? Do you let them pass of their own accord, or do you deliberately shift them? Do you take action? If you don't have a tool to do it deliberately and you want one, here's some questions that have worked for me. So I'm feeling an emotion like depression or overwhelm, and I ask, what's really going on here? What am I reacting to? Is there room for another perspective? Do I need more information? Could I have misunderstood something or overreacted? Am I giving someone else power to make me feel something I don't want to feel? If all of this fails, then distract yourself with an entirely different activity. Go for a walk. Play with a pet. Count the good stuff in your life. Enjoy a daydream. Or go shovel snow. Learning to see situations from new angles is a life-transforming skill. It interrupts old patterns and creates new neural pathways. The old frame of reference can be discarded and a new, more accurate frame of reference can be filed. This is us moving from the old familiar to the new familiar. And we're going to bring our ego along with us because that new familiar is going to start feeling safer and safer and safer. If you've been listening for a while, you already know if you keep repeating the new idea often enough, it will eventually become the go-to response. We're smart, but our mind sometimes takes a little time to clue in. It's okay. The brain will learn. Your brain will learn. To me, there's nothing more potent than the knowledge that you and I can control our thoughts, emotions, and reactions. You can choose to feel better. It's rarely an instantaneous change, but change at any pace is still change. With practice, we get quicker and quicker results. Now, practice is the operative word. None of this is a one-time fix. At least pretty rarely is it a one-time fix. The truth is nothing is either good or bad. It is our judgment that makes it so. Now, this is a big one. I've mentioned it before, but I'm going to go over it again. We are the thinker of our thoughts, which means we're always in choice, even if we choose not to accept that. We decide what we feel every time. So many people walk through life giving other people and situations the right to dictate how they feel. If there's one place you really do have all of the power, it is here. So why would any of us give that power away? Habit. That's it. Unless, of course, you were under the same impression that my dad was under, that you have no choice. Well, I popped that bubble, didn't I? Yeah, it's just a habit. And if you love it, keep it. But if you're here to learn to increase the volume of your intuition and get more in tune with the woman you've come to be, this level of emotional intelligence will serve you well. On top of that, the power that comes from not having to rely on others for your happiness, contentment, or sense of self-worth is so freaking enormous that it can propel you quickly into recognizing just how many choices you have each and every day to either choose power or disconnection. Is this resonating? Or perhaps you're hearing this because you have a good friend who would benefit from hearing these words. Here's some other things that will act as tools to increase your intuitive power and personal awareness. Are there people or places that trigger negative stuff for you? Are you actually willing to look at the situation differently? What could be your version of shoveling through a snow blizzard? Are you willing to assume responsibility for how you feel and quit allowing others to dictate that for you? If something happens that is less than ideal, take time to reframe it. There's an old saying that still has a lot of wisdom in it, and that is this: you either get what you want or you get what you need to learn. That's powerful. You either get what you want or you get what you need to learn. So there is power and purpose in every experience we have. Give yourself this amazing gift. Learn to see the light in everything and everyone. Choose how you're going to feel and react. We all have moments in our past where we wished we had thought before we spoke. So next time something gets you going, go for a walk or play some music that lifts you up. Bask in the pleasure of a favorite friend, or think about places that make you feel good. Find something that gets you off whatever is triggering the unhappy feeling. And if you can think of nothing else, close your eyes and smile. Once you are feeling more balanced, ask yourself, is there another way to see this situation? Do I really believe that this person intended for me to react this way? If so, why am I giving them so much power? Am I reacting in this way in this moment because I've always responded in this way and it's a habit? It's just a habit, pure and simple. Is their response about me or is it about their own stuff? What does their behavior or the situation teach me about what I want? Can I come up with a way to see this situation in a lighter frame of mind? These are just a few questions that can help you get to a better place. Can you think of any others? Establish a variety of go-to questions that can help you diffuse unsettling and unwanted feelings. When you catch hold of a hidden, inherited belief, you now know what to do to transform it into an intentionally chosen one. I hope you're feeling really powerful right about now. You're learning to tell yourself the truth. What you do from now on will determine how far you let this energy take you. You are more powerful than you have been believing. I will guarantee you that. And this tool opened me up in such a beautiful way. I am glad I heard that line so many years ago now. You're choosing this. You can choose something else. It's so brilliant, isn't it? All right, sisters, let's keep filling up on our power, our authentic power. Let's get to changing ourselves and the world for the better. And on that note, if you haven't taken advantage of my free resources, listen to the outro for more details on how you can get them right here and right now. Okay, you beautiful beings, thanks for listening. See you next time. Well, I hope this show rocked your world a little bit. If you're ready to take this learning to a whole new level, pop over to lanesmithbrown.com and sign up for our weekly Wild Wonderings email and check out the coaching options as well. Oh, and if you haven't already, subscribe to this podcast, will you? It's how we get these tools into the world and change the world for the better. Ta for now.